Welcome to Hermit Woods, where there's a story in every bottle.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, but
now you got a bad.
horrible.
All right.
Hold on. Ooh, there's the echo. That one.
Because that will echo.
There we go. Ooh, maybe. My phone is muted.
Right?
Well, it's
That's
on.
good.
It's not exactly muted. It's on.
What does this symbol mean? Push the button
Yeah. If you want.
right there if you want to go
I
live.
think it's under Chuck.
Yeah.
Or-
If you're on YouTube, subscribe.
Now
Subscribe.
we're loud and clear. We're good. Okay,
Loud and
let's
clear.
cheers again
Yeah,
to
there we go.
All
that.
right, cheers again.
Cheers again to that. You did it without Bob.
Without
We've
Bob.
had a few weeks of all over the place and not quite
Yeah.
here and trying to tune in from here and there and everywhere. And
I
this week,
know.
we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
We got things mostly set up, but no Bob.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No, unfortunately, Bob is not with us today.
Bob is ill.
Bob is ill.
Bob is ill.
Yes.
Sorry,
That's
Bob.
too bad. That happens sometimes.
Hope you're watching and enjoying the show.
Humans do get ill.
Send
It
us
does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Not
know.
to
it's
Bob.
not-
Normally.
I think he's faking. I think he was just trying to get out of working the holiday weekend.
He could be.
But he did come in for the holiday
He
weekend.
was there briefly on
Saturday.
Saturday.
He
Yeah.
was here for a little
And
bit
it was-
Saturday.
It was a
And
busy
then he took
weekend.
off.
Took off.
So who's gonna do the Bob show? I mean, are you gonna do the
spiel?
Facebook Live and
Uh,
the
spiel.
subscribe?
Welcome everybody.
Welcome. There we go. There we go.
I'm sure we have our usuals joining us again, but of course, if you're new, we're glad you've joined us today. Please certainly share with your friends if you think that they would be interested in this sort of entertainment. We go live every Monday at this time, 5:30. And if you are on Facebook, there's a little thumbs up button somewhere on our page. You can like and subscribe to the Facebook page, and that
When
way.
do we do this part?
I think we already did
I
that
think it's
part.
under Chuck. Under Chuck.
There we
If
go.
you're watching on YouTube, there's a little bell button that you can click there, and
Oh,
that will
yeah.
subscribe you to our
Oh, the
YouTube channel.
So YouTube.
Funny because of
And then you
YouTube.
get notifications anytime we're going live, because sometimes it's not Monday at 5:30. Sometimes it's various other points and locations and all sorts of things.
True, there are random Facebook Lives, aren't there?
They are.
Those are sometimes the most fun.
Yeah.
Yes,
Out
indeed.
on the ice.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
and in various places on a
And look what we
motorcycle,
have
maybe.
today.
What are we doing? What
That
is
looks
that?
pretty solid,
Look at that.
Ken.
Is this
It is
blueberry
pretty
pie?
solid.
Oh yeah, we've got tuning in from some others. Of course, Matt has joined us. Christine has joined us. Priscilla's on.
Excellent.
And my mom has joined us. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Excellent. Hi, Mom.
And Wickram's joined from
Oh,
the
Ann.
Lawrence Family Camp up north.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
Wonderful.
I guess
Good to see you all.
glad you made it.
I thought you said Anne was going to be stopping by.
I think,
soon.
yes, he has
Yeah.
plans to tomorrow. We
So
think.
tomorrow. Oh, good.
So maybe we'll be seeing Ann tomorrow.
So this is a very healthy product here that we
Kombucha.
have. So it's kind of like a kombucha. So we have a bunch of things in there. This is
I
fruit.
spy with my little eye. Let's see. How
So-
many fruit can you pick?
Yep, you can see some elderberries some blackberries. The blackberries are really shredded. You can see some blueberries. And I believe that's a raspberry right there, a red raspberry. So this has 4 fruits. And believe it or not, this is like oatmeal.
I feel like
this
is a quiz for our audience then.
So this is
blackberry, blueberry, raspberry, and elderberry.
Yeah.
So before we say what's
review
on
it?
there,
Okay.
see who can tell us which wine is in that cup.
Why is it so fuzzy?
It's not really
it looks
wine.
it looks like it's spoiled. It's bubbling.
It's
and stuff.
fermenting.
What?
It's fermenting right now. There's Saccharomyces in there, eating up this fruit and turning it into.
What are they eating?
Try that.
Wait a minute. I'm eating.
Wow.
I'm eating a live food.
You're eating live
Okay,
food.
It's been good knowing you all. It didn't kill him, so I'll try
That's
it.
pretty good. And very good for you.
Smoothie.
Oh, it's tangy. Blueberry.
I want to make sure I get a
Yeah.
raspberry.
Well, tangy too from the yeast.
Oh yeah.
That's in there.
Ooh, there's a nice little fizzle on the tongue there.
Yeah.
You got all the seeds.
Oh, that's yummy.
Why
Isn't
don't
that
we just,
good?
Why don't we
I was
just
a little
sell this stuff? This
apprehensive
is
of this.
delicious.
I saw you. You were
Yeah,
like,
well,
a little skeptical.
As much as I love berry pulp, I know that this has been fermenting downstairs for several days.
Yeah.
So I
just
wasn't
a
sure if it
couple of
was
days.
going to
It's
taste
still got quite a bit of sugar in it.
Yeah.
berry-like, or if it was going to be taste like things gone rotten.
Mm.
So this
Wow.
would be ostensibly good for you then. It's being
It is good for you.
so you got all the phytonutrients and all the things that make fruit good for you.
Anthocyanins, all these tannins.
It is
all
already partially digested by the mushrooms in there. Saccharomyces
Hey, look at
mushroom.
that, going in for doubles.
Oh, of course. I'll eat all of this. I
Rich
just
in
want
enzymes.
Any guesses out
vitamin
there?
C.
Ladies and gentlemen, in our viewing audience, as
I
to
think-
what this concoction may be. 4 fruits, 4 berries.
blackberry,
all blended
blueberry,
together. Oh!
elderberry,
What's that in your glass?
and raspberry.
Let me see.
I'm
Let me
surprised
see.
we don't have any guesses.
Well, I guess we'll never know then. Moving right along.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
delicious.
that's interesting. You can kind of taste the relationship.
it does. It
Yeah,
having a
you
sip of
can.
this after
That-
that.
yeah.
Does,
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, Matt, you know better than that. No.
We're getting there, Matt.
No, Christine got it. It
We're
was
getting
it
there,
was
Matt.
Lakehouse Red.
Yeah.
The crucial
Lakehouse
difference
Red.
there. So Red Scare is very similar, and we will get to that.
We will
but
get to
the
that.
one thing that's not in Red Scare that is in this is the elderberries, right?
That's right.
That's
And
the difference.
Lakehouse Red has red raspberries, and Red Scare has black raspberries.
Oh, I didn't know.
And that's a big difference in flavor profile.
Yeah.
For a few years, I couldn't get black raspberries, and I had red raspberries in Red Scare. That was 2013, 2014, 2015. And it wasn't as good as it could be. And obtaining the black raspberries first in 2017 put me down this path. And now I have a local farmer at Autumn Hill Farm that's growing these black raspberries for me.
Just fantastic.
And,
Because they're kind of a unwieldy thing in agriculture, from what I understand.
Yeah.
They're not that easy to deal with. They grow really well wild around here, but to cultivate them is a bit of a challenge, from what I understand.
So now in our glasses, well, you guys didn't finish yours yet, but in your
Gosh,
glasses
no, give me a second.
is our current 2019 vintage of Lakehouse Red. So we just scooped out with a spoon the actively fermenting 2022
2020.
vintage of Lakehouse Red, which won't get bottled till 2024. That's the time frame that we're looking at.
So is this another? That means did we miss 2020? Lakehouse Red? 'Cause
That's in the 2020 is in
2020
bottle
is
in the
bo-
warehouse.
In bottle in the warehouse. Okay.
2019 we still have in bottle in the warehouse, and we're drinking it tonight and
Okay.
serving that here. But I do have a carafe of 2021 Lakehouse Red
Okay.
pulled from a barrel just a half hour ago for us to
Wonderful.
sample as well.
So in the compote that we're eating,
The compote.
Compote.
Yes, the compote.
It is very cool.
It would be a great dessert, actually.
Actually,
Like,
yeah,
it would
it's
be
I
good.
think on
creme
top of
fraiche.
vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice
Oh,
cream
yeah.
or creme fresh or
Yeah,
something
that
if you want it more
would be
savory.
great.
It'd be
And
actually
suggest that
quite
we
good.
make it into a jam or jelly. This would be a wonderful
Well, you know what?
mix.
If we put this in a jar and close the lid, the jar would explode.
True.
It would
We'll
explode.
send you
It
a
would-
bottle of that for Christmas.
it would send it all over the place, man. So we need a special jar. Now, you could take the finished wine and cook this down, add some sugar, and turn it into a jam or jelly, like we have with our crabapple jelly,
We
right?
do, yeah. I just got in touch with Sue today. We're getting low on our wine jellies from Laurel Hill. So I'm
From Laurel
hopefully
Hill,
going to be setting up a meeting with her to get her some crabapple, strawberry rhubarb, and petite blue.
Strawberry rhubarb.
Mhm.
Ah.
So the elderberry in the Lakehouse Red,
Mhm.
I'm getting a lot more elderberry in this vintage than I am getting in the raw fermentation.
You know, it's interesting. I think elderberry stands out for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It has a very distinctive, but hard to
There's-
describe,
I wanna
earthy
see if I
sort
can
of
find an
character.
elderberry.
Yeah.
And you may not find it
Yeah. What
as much.
I
you know,
can see the blueberries, but I
Yeah.
don't know if
they're
aren't-
very small. They're
don't
like
they look
match
like
head
the,
size.
Don't they look like the blueberries?
They look like a tiny blueberry. That's about the size of a match head.
That one.
That looks
It's a
like a little
blueberry.
blueberry. That would be a very big elderberry. Now, the elderberries only make up a small percentage of Lakehouse Red and also Hermitage.
Oh, are they
So
a
you
little
have a
lighter?
chance.
Is
You
that
have a
one
chance to go digging for.
right there?
That might be. That looks like a piece of blackberry, though.
Tastes like it too.
So do you think the elderberry skin continues to evolve as the wine ages in the later malolactic processes or whatever?
It might be. It's the,
Or did you
the
change?
formula that I'm using compared to 19. I think is just about identical
About identical. Yeah.
to what I have in that jar right there. But you know, every year the fruit is a little bit different. We had a very dry summer around here. The red raspberries I got from Ben at Great Northern Berries here in Sandwich were the best raspberries I've ever had. They were just tremendous. And all of his raspberries went in there.
Wow. I love the raspberry. I mean, I've always had a hard time with raspberry, but this is a great palate education.
It's a small
Really.
percentage. So to tell you the ratio here, if anybody wants to make this at home, this is what you do. In this batch, I'm making 2 barrels this year of Lakehouse Red. And I have 360 pounds of blackberries, and I have 360 pounds of blueberries. And then I have 1/6 of that, 60 pounds of red raspberries and 60 pounds of elderberries. So those are done at a much lower.
Those two are so much more tart and
They're
much
very
less
bold,
sugar.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're very bold, very strong,
Yeah.
very unique. Like the deep red, where that's just 100% raspberry.
Lot of
The
raspberry.
honey really brings that out.
You need to have the honey there.
Yeah. So this one, it's the blueberries and the blackberries. That's true of Hermitage, and that's true of Red Scare. So Lakehouse Red, Hermitage, Red Scare. I never thought about it this way, but they are mostly blackberries and blueberries
Yeah.
at very similar ratios. The Hermitage is a little different, and the Red Scare is a little different. And then Hermitage doesn't have any raspberry in it, but it has elderberry. Red Scare doesn't have any elderberry, and it has black raspberry,
It has
and
black
then it has
raspberry.
honey instead of sugar.
Honey instead of sugar, yeah.
But we're going down a path here. We're going to try and sample these 3 dark red wine creations here in their various stages. So we have the current compote version of the fermenting fruit, which is going on downstairs.
How many days in are we on this?
I got the fruit in on Tuesday.
I thought you were motorcycling Tuesday. Oh no, you came back from
I
motorcycling on
was.
Tuesday. You were motorcycling on Tuesday.
motorcycling. I thought you were too.
Oh yeah.
No, I
Oh
think,
my
I
God.
think, I think you came back Wednesday.
We came back Tuesday evening,
Tuesday night. Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Yeah.
but Tuesday is when we got the delivery of all the fruit.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, right.
Noah and
Noah
Randy
agreed to
took
it
care of
down
that.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Thanks,
brought
man.
that in. And then the next day, Noah and I assembled the wines.
Yeah.
They still needed to thaw for a couple days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the yeast went in these on Friday.
Friday.
So they are fermenting away. Or no, Saturday. The yeast went in
Saturday.
on Saturday.
This is Monday.
They
Why do you
finally
have
thought
such a
of
big
It's
day?
a Saturday,
Yeah, you had
so
a
this is only-
big weekend for you
This
too.
is this is day number 3 then. of
day number 3.
okay. And it's really, the yeast have really consumed a lot of sugar.
Yep. They've already gone through quite a bit of it.
And this is a yeast additive from a French wine region.
It is. It's from the Rhone.
Uh-huh.
From the Côte d'Rhône region. It's called Lalvin D254.
Oh,
And
of course.
it is my favorite yeast for dark red berries. It's just a wonderful yeast. I use it in Petit Blue Reserve, Red Scare, Hermitage, Lakehouse Red. I've explored a few other yeast strains, but D254 is by far my favorite.
I'm going to switch to my computer camera so I can try and show the color a little bit
Oh,
here.
smell this. Wow.
It's hard to show with the
would be
colors on my
Côte
camera,
d'Rhône?
but
So a Côte d'Rhône style yeast. So
this is definitely just by the
So
color.
this is the same wine, but it's coming right out of the barrel. This is very young. So this was made last fall.
It's but the color is much brighter.
It's much
than-
brighter, much more red.
Yeah.
Nowhere
It's a
near as
gorgeous
much
color.
purple. It's got a really spicy note to the top. It's a single barrel that we pulled from.
Wow.
So this is thinner, lighter to me than the one out of the bottle. This is lighter, fresher. It really dissipates, leaves my tongue. Not a lot of big grippy tannins yet forming in it. Very soft. I love the
It's
texture
so
of this one.
soft.
It's
Yeah.
really, really soft.
Yep.
Which is amazing for having such racy acids,
Yeah.
berries and stuff that are in there.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy flavorful. It's not as elderberry. I'm not getting nearly as much elderberry. A lot more
That's just the
red.
raspberry.
I get a lot of raspberry.
Especially
of
having just
raspberry.
had
I
a
get
big
a lot
bite of
of
raspberry.
raspberry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah. For the same
Oh,
thing.
that's really nice.
For the
I
same
like
thing,
that.
it's just definitely having a different conversation. Yeah.
So doesn't that blow your mind? That
Yeah.
compote turns into this.
Yeah,
If
no,
you
that's
just have
phenomenal.
enough time to wait for it.
It's nice. So we do have. I should
Oh, what do we
maybe
have
hold
here
this up
for
a
a
little
board?
bit without something. At least now this is my computer, not Bob's. So
So you can dump it on yours.
I
You
can
don't want to
dump
dump it on
I don't
yours.
want to do that, but I'm going to show over here.
Oh yeah.
There
I
you
asked
go.
Jack to get creative and make us up a little board today, and he did. They've been toying a little bit with this sort of.
I'm not quite sure what you did
presentation.
in the middle here. This looks pretty wild. It's like a
So this it looks like,
like a
he put
banana
the,
split.
It
It's
does a bit.
banana split.
He took
Camemberts,
one of the creamy
Cam-
cheeses. I think it's maybe the Jasper Hill Willoughby or Harbison, and he put it on top of a little bed of the Thai hot pepper jelly from Waz.
Oh, that's a Thai hot pepper.
Yeah.
jelly.
That was-
Oh,
But they've been
wow.
kind of having
Yeah.
fun, I think, with the spread, sort of doing that lovely kind of artistic sort of swoosh of condiments and such.
Now, is it
Um,
true that we can have a scoop of this
compote.
compote? No, we can't because that was already. You're making a new. No, you're not. Never mind.
But I like
do that.
this with the cheddar. It's kind of nice because it's a sharp cheddar and the sort of, I don't know, the brightness and sourness of the raspberry is nice with the sharp there.
Ooh, that's quite a combination he's got there. With that cheese
I
and the
bet that's a
pepper.
great combo. I don't know if it would go with this.
No, we need rosé.
Yeah. Yep. I think we need rosé with that.
Yes, for sure. I don't think it would go. Well, that's very interesting. So we went from the compote to the
The finished
oldest
product,
version,
and this is
then
kind of in the middle.
between. And this was the in between thing. So maybe on the next one we go from compote to the 21, which is just a year old, still in barrel, and then we go to the older vintage in the bottle. We try that sequence. And then the last one, we'll start with the wine and work younger up to the compote.
Yeah.
There's no way to say that the 21 is ever going to go be just like the previous vintage.
No.
Anyway.
That was my question. So,
No.
do you remember on the 2019? Do you remember what it tasted like in barrels around this stage? Is this tasting?
I don't
similar?
remember, but I have
Kind of on the
notes.
same
I
track?
could bring up some notes about that. I could give you the notes of the 19 Lakehouse Red right when I bottled it, or right when I was sampling it in the barrels. Let's see if I can pull that up.
Because that would be.
Oh,
yeah,
you know, I
interesting.
can't do that on my phone. I could get to the with the software that I use, this Vintray software. I can track and get into some of the details, but I need my
Hard to see
desktop
it,
to
yeah.
actually burrow in on the notes for a specific line.
'Cause you
But
said
yeah, I have that information. And what's fascinating is I'll do this at home sometimes. I'll pull out a wine that Bob and Chuck and I made 10 years ago before we were in a winery. Like 12, 14 years ago before we were a winery.
It's getting more years every year.
And I can go back and look at the notes and see how it evolved. And early on, we were like, wow, this was the best thing ever. We were so excited about what we were doing. Then it's like, no, it's not so good. as we
had some not so
pushed
good.
our expectations up in the beginning, we were just so proud to actually transform grapes into something that was a potable.
It was drinkable.
Yeah. We had serious ambitions of buying these great grapes and making our own, Grand Cru wine in carboys.
Right.
I don't know why we ever thought we could do that.
Other people have done that. They use it as a business model. It's quite interesting.
I don't think we ever made a Grand Cru. Of course, we didn't have access to the fruit either.
No.
So
that's really what
that was probably the problem. I mean, it would have been that good if we'd had the fruit for sure.
I mean,
our techniques were flawless then.
Oh yeah, flawless.
Yeah.
We knew exactly what we were
sulfur
doing.
races and sulfur mitigation races.
It is the good thing about life is you learn as you go. And if you're fortunate enough, you actually learn as you go.
Yeah.
Because there are messages and hints and ideas that come out constantly.
Well, I think that's the story of this creative project that is Hermit Woods, right?
It is.
And all of the wines and then all of the business too, right?
All right, so
there it is.
Hermitage next. Let's go Hermitage next since it has elderberry, and then we'll switch out. Which way you want to go? Compote, barrel, bottle?
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, compote,
All right,
barrel,
compote.
bottle.
That must be Bob tuning in. Interesting. He's showing up as just Facebook user.
Really?
Bob must be in incognito
Facebook
mode.
user.
Glad you're able to tune in, Bob.
Oh,
Maybe we'll come drop off some elderberries for you later on. Get your immune
This is
system back
full of
up.
vitamin C.
oh, man. I like this better than the other one. If I was going to put this on ice cream.
Oh my
So you
God!
got
Yeah,
all these fruits in together, and then
it's spicy.
Oh,
oh boy,
Spicy. That's good.
that's really good. Oh, I just want to eat that one.
Yeah, I want to eat that
Right
too.
up.
much less raspberries.
But no
Yeah.
raspberry.
No
That's
raspberry?
a zero
Oh, right.
raspberry.
Yeah,
So
of
this
course.
is Hermitage, zero raspberry,
Right.
blackberries, blueberries, and elderberries.
Elderberry.
I think I just dropped an elderberry.
So just the three berries. So maybe you can find an elderberry in there.
Yeah,
I can pick
recognize
up the
it now.
elderberry later in the flavor. So I'm really hit with the blueberry up front,
Yeah.
and then I get the elderberry a little bit later.
And
Yeah.
there's black currant. Is the other one in this one?
Nope.
No, not
So
anymore?
So I sometimes have I have had black currant in all of them since the beginning, but I have a vintage of black currant wine that I made in 2015
Oh, okay.
that I still have because it's so potent and strong. I tend to use just a small amount of it for the wine.
Now, where do you get the black currants from?
So those black currants that I got in 2015 were from a grower in Vermont.
Oh yeah.
That Chuck
You
and
still
I-
have that?
I still have that.
Oh my God! What a fantastic farm.
Yeah, remember that
Yeah,
when
I
we
can't
went
remember.
there?
It's like Rose Hill or
Yeah, it
guys
was
from
just over the river. The guy
Yeah.
from England, he
Yeah.
brought over his concoction that
Yeah.
harvests the black currants.
Yeah, brought this really cool weirdo.
We
tractor.
drove past it. We turned around. We came back. There was a dilapidated kids swing set.
Yeah.
Weeds growing all over. The
Yeah,
kitchen door was
clothesline.
swinging open. We're like, hello, is anybody
Yeah.
there?
Nary a lawnmower.
Oh, yes, he's out in the field. Go ahead. You'll find him. And so we're like, okay, I guess the field is over here. We walk out there, and it's just like a field with wildflowers and all this stuff, and butterflies and insects, and then you kind of see that there are rows of greener bushes that are through all of this mixture of stuff, and that's his black currant growing just organically as can be.
The one thing I always remember about currants is that growing up, we had a couple of, not black currant, we had red currant bushes and some gooseberries. But I think it was the currants in particular, it was kind of a big deal that we had them because for a while you couldn't buy them because
They're
of
illegal.
there was
White
some.
pine blister rust.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
So I
There is some
believe
sort
my
of-
parents had maybe illegally transported when they moved from Wisconsin.
You didn't just say that live, did you?
We somehow just had some
There you go.
that we had transplanted from our house in Wisconsin out
I was doing
here
that for Bob.
to Pennacook and had currant bushes. And then I believe when we moved out to Webster, we transplanted those currant bushes again.
Wow. Wow. So
tried to anyway.
It's a good thing the prisons are all full because
Yeah.
they actually had the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 30s going through the woods and eradicating all of the black currant for the forestry.
I think
so
it's
what
changed.
did the
Maybe
black
it's changed
currants
by now, 'cause I
do?
think
They
you
say,
couldn't get it again.
white pine blister rust makes these big red blotchy things that girdles white pine trees, and our two big crop trees in New Hampshire are, as a matter of growing and crop rotation, are white pine and red oak because they grow the fastest. And this was just killing like a third of the white pine crop, and it girdles them, just stunts their growth, and then they don't do anything. And so there's a spore that goes from the pine to the black currant to the ground, and then has this whole life cycle. And the black currant is the key to the success of the.
Who figured that out?
Smarter people than me, that's for sure.
That's magic.
Yeah.
So they were just toxic to have them together.
Well,
They were ideal.
They were ideal
for
together
this
for that spore. Yeah, it was just taking advantage of a situation. And I don't think currants were native to New Hampshire originally. I think it's an invasive species anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So.
But it wasn't just around here that was a problem. My mom just said
Oh
that
no, it was.
my grandpa spent a whole summer removing wild black currants from forests in the south.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah,
Right.
all right.
But I think the part of the reason they were eradicatable is that they had this disease advantage was that they weren't native.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe it's gotten better. I think you can buy currants again, but for a while
they've gotten.
you weren't able to purchase them from any of the seed catalogs.
Isn't that big of a deal anymore. I think is really what it's come down to. There's not enough pushback. I mean, it just is what it is. And eradicating it didn't get rid of all of the blister rust. So.
Now that's different than cedar rust, right?
Yeah.
Because I had a cedar tree in my front yard, and it would develop these like orange needles.
Yeah, that's in the needles.
And that had something to do with the fruit trees, the apples, or
yeah.
something like that. Would create this cedar rust.
Yeah.
But there was another vector.
Yeah. Usually there's an animal or another species involved in this strange lifestyle cycle of these spores. So. Yeah, it's a crazy science.
Yeah. Wow. So we went from a really yummy compote format to the 21
Really
vintage.
yummy.
I love this vintage of Hermitage. It's in barrel. It's aging really nicely. You still have that earthy character that comes, especially in the nose right now, to me, from the elderberries.
It is, to me, I think of Red Scare and Lakehouse Red as kind of being almost sister wines because there's so much fruit overlap.
Yeah.
But somehow I've never thought of Lakehouse Red and Hermitage as being
Right.
related in that same way. But there is so much fruit overlap.
I don't even know how I ended up down this path with these three wines. I mean, we were just putting different stuff together in Bob's basement. I don't know how this all came about. I had one early on called Beck, which was blueberries, elderberries, and cassis was black currant.
Yeah.
And that was too tangy, too sour, because the black currant was just too intense. Yeah. And I don't know where this concept for Hermitage came out to bolster it with blackberries. But blackberries really worked well. The combination of blackberries and blueberries, to me, is like a perfect backdrop. It's like a Merlot or a Syrah. It just creates that really nice foundation.
Syrah, Shiraz side more.
Yeah, and it gives you that basis to then blend in other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Grenache, yeah.
This is a nice balance of flavors. Once again, I really like that. It has that more dynamic thing going on. And you said there is a black currant in here.
No, this is in barrel. There's no black currant. So what I'll do is some bench trials of adding a little bit of black currant to see if that helps it.
Because it does. This tastes more like Lakehouse Red than
because of the and I think we'll probably get that out of the bottle because this does have some black currant put into it. Where's your glass?
So it's
touch
really
your glass, otherwise I pour it in your lap.
It's really the elderberry then that's making up that space there. It has a little bit of that dry tannin finish, but it's a really nice flavored elderberry. You found elderberries that there's been an evolution of elderberry fruit in your production. You found elderberry that was not quite so knock you on the head, bitter.
Yeah, there was one. It was, in fact, I got a call today from a friend of Tony's,
Tony Peppers.
So a friend of his is in Massachusetts and is going to start a farm growing elderberries.
Wow.
And called me this afternoon to see if there were particular types of elderberries I liked for winemaking. And so I gave him some information, and I looked back through my notes, and there's a type of elderberry that is richer in more tartaric acid, called Bob Gordon of all things. A strange name.
Is it Bob Gordon of all things, or just Bob Gordon?
Bob Gordon.
Okay.
Just Bob Gordon.
Do you know who Bob
Gordon of all
is?
things.
Not Bob Gordon of all things.
Gordon
I kind of like the name Bob Gordon of all things. I mean, it's a fruit name. It could be anything. Bob Gordon. Who do you think invented it?
Bob Gordon.
Well, I assume Bob Gordon, but,
Bob
or
Gordon.
maybe it was
It was a big joke.
Phil-
It was
Phil
Frank.
Gordon.
Frank did it.
Frank did it.
Let's call it Bob Gordon.
maybe Bob was his dad.
This is awesome. It's a different world.
So what age does is it brings out a bigger, richer body. But this vintage has more of that cassis sour note.
It's a very tart
it.
Hermitage.
Yeah.
So it has a much
Yeah.
tartar. It's actually taking this vintage. I think is really going to be great in another couple of years. So I think this one
I think
always
that
seems like it
tartness
needed. It will soften.
Yeah.
That's what happened with anything that was a little heavy on the black currant. It needed more time, and once you gave it that time, then it would come out. So this is one to cellar.
Yeah, no, this has got a lot going on.
But there's a very
cassis.
nice spiciness.
Yeah.
There's some old world volatile acidity that you get on the nose from the barrel, the extended barrel aging.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
And the flavors are together now. We've gone from the compote. This was a good progression.
Now I'm going to go back the other
because we've
direction.
gone from the compote where we have this bright, fresh, eat me stuff into this nice, soft barrel fruitiness, into this dark, brooding, spicy realm that the wine has right now.
Yeah, there are so many flavors in here. It has that almost that. What's the fruit that has that green sliminess?
Elderberry.
That's elderberry.
That's the elderberry.
The barrels, the buckets have this.
You remember the green sliminess?
Well, I've had to clean those buckets.
Oh,
but you have to use a special cleaner on it. It's amazing.
Well, you
compound.
have to use veggie oil.
Oh, veggie oil. That's what it was. Yeah, it's really weird stuff. But
elderberries, when they ferment, create this green goo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It looks like stuff that you would normally put into a Kleenex, you know?
Lovely.
And
Great.
Wow,
Yeah.
I can't imagine
sorry.
there weren't any other
Delicious
analogies that might have been more appropriate.
And it sticks, especially
Very
to plastic.
sticky.
It doesn't stick that much to stainless steel, but plastic, it sticks like rubber cement. It's like green rubber cement. And it's hydrophilic. So water does nothing to it. You can spray it, you can blast it, nothing. And hydrophobic, not hydrophilic.
Yep.
And if you take veggie oil and smear it on it, it lets it go.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And then you use some sort of a soap to get rid of the oil, and you're clean. But we learned that the hard way.
This is the 2018 Hermitage.
This is the 2018.
Yeah, this is what's on the shelves. Yeah, Christine was just asking. Yeah. 2018, Christine. So this is what is currently on the shelves, what we're currently pouring at the restaurant, and what you'll
this
be
is gonna
getting
go
in
in the club.
the fall club release.
Yeah, I want all of our club members to have a bottle of this, and I would recommend you just put it down in your cellar, hold on to it.
I'll add it to my collection.
It's very nice.
I think it's very drinkable.
But if you give it even more time, it'll get better.
What I think is great. So you should take a spoonful and eat a spoonful, and then kind of like while it's in your mouth,
Really?
put this in your nose.
What happened there?
It's nice being able to taste
Compare
the
the two?
Yeah, just taste it while you're sort of smelling the wine. Oh, here we go. Bob's doing research for us. Robert Gordon collected the elderberry from the wilds of Missouri in 1999. That's the name.
Wow.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
He must be feeling better.
Yeah.
Googling away over there.
Mhm.
Isn't that
All
a cool
right.
experience?
What's that?
Isn't that a cool experience?
Yeah. You know, it goes really nicely. together. You know how healthy we are right now? All
Feeling
these
great.
antioxidants,
Well, yeah.
all this stuff. I mean,
Vitamin C.
it's just amazing.
I tell people all the time, especially with the Hermitage, when I'm tasting this at the tasting bar, I tell them that, oh yeah, this is very much a health drink.
You know, it's interesting in the wine world, dealing with red wine grapes. There are primary acids that occur in the grapes. Tartaric acid is the main one, but there's also malic acid and lactic acid that gets developed from fermentation. Well, in Cabernet, Merlot, Syrah, what winemakers will do is they'll employ a bacteria that likes to eat up malic acid and convert it into a softer lactic acid. So they get rid of a green apple tanginess,
Yep.
and they get a softer milk acid. And the way you test to see what sort of acid you have in your wine is through paper chromatography. And people do this at the home winemaking
Yep.
level. I do it here. And you take your sample and you put controls of malic and tartaric and citric or lactic acid, and you watch how these dots form. Well, I was very confused for a while because I kept doing this, and the spots that I was seeing weren't quite lining up with malic. And I was waiting for these spots of malic acid to convert into lactic, but they were staying on. But they weren't quite lining up with the control. It was close, but not exactly right. And this is smears forming on a paper. So it's not like specific chemical analyses where you're getting exactly the same. So reading about the nature of blackberries and blueberries and elderberries, it turns out that a lot of this fruit has a lot of citric acid in it. So I thought to myself, I wonder if that's actually citric acid. So then I did a 4-spot paper chromatography. I mixed up a little citric acid and put a dot. And sure enough, those dots lined up with citric, not with malic. So
Different
I was
fruit.
thinking that it was malic trying to convert it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't that at all. It was
Citric
citric acid. Now, the one that surprised me last year for the first time is I took a batch of our Northern Berry Red and I put it into one of our wine barrels. And our wine barrels have this malolactic bacteria in it. And it started bubbling like mad. So I did the paper chromatography on that, and honeyberries have enough malic acid to stop a truck. They're just loaded with malic acid. But what it does is the Northern Berry Red has a very strong, bright tanginess, and a lot of that is malic acid. So this year I'm taking about a half of the wine and putting it in barrels and letting it convert and blending that back with the rest, and going to create
That'll
a
be
new
interesting.
Northern Berry Red. All right,
Wow.
Matt, are you ready?
Yeah.
Matt, we got yours coming your way, Matt.
As we're pouring this, we've got a question from Matt. He's wondering if there's any truth behind stainless steel tanks neutralizing acids.
Say that again?
He says, is there any truth to stainless steel tanks neutralizing the acids?
Well, there is. I don't know that it would neutralize the acids. There is a reaction that takes place when you passivate a tank. So there's stainless steel breaks apart in the high acid environment of a wine, and some of the iron disassociates and becomes on the surface of it, and the stainless steel can actually rust because of the acid that was in it. And then you passivate the tank by actually putting in like a very strong citric acid and complexing that iron and removing it. But I don't think on itself stainless steel would do anything to buffer that. A lot of winemakers will actually adjust the acid levels of their wines by adding carbonate or basic materials to counteract it.
Yeah, so it should be basically inert as a fermenting vessel.
All right.
All right, so now we're gonna go. Are we gonna go with the compote barrel?
I
bottle?
think that's the best order.
I think that's a good
I think
one.
that is the best order. Yeah.
I must say this batch of Red Scare looks like it's ready to jump out of the
It's a monster.
container
It's
here.
a good kind of Halloween episode.
See if
Oh,
you
it's
can
bubbly.
stir it and get some of the liquid and mixed in with it.
Ooh, yeah, it's
There you
bubbly.
go.
Oh yeah.
Now, there's a little difference here, well, a big difference here with Red Scare that I think is one of the key things to it, is that in the last two wines that we tried, we're using
Oh.
sugar to boost the alcohol level of the product by letting the yeast convert the sugars into alcohol. But in the case of Red Scare, we're using local wildflower honey from Hall apiaries.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
There's I guess it's the meat, it's the honey. It almost tastes more like beer-like.
Oh, that's the honey.
That's the honey. Yeah.
That's the honey.
You almost say get,
Oh,
honey,
yeah.
get honeycomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a neat flavor.
Matt wonders if it would be
Wow.
legal to sell a pint of the compote.
Matt, you have to come
Probably,
here
yeah.
tomorrow if you want to get the
start putting it
You
on
have about
boards.
3 days to have compote here.
Yeah, we should give some to Travis tomorrow and have him start putting it on charcuterie boards.
Wow.
This is delicious,
Yeah.
but wild. It
Yeah.
literally it tastes wild.
It tastes really wild. This is, but I think it's that combination of the honey,
It's the honey. Yeah.
which has got that really unique aromatic beeswaxy thing going
Wow.
on, and then those black raspberries.
Yeah.
Black raspberries, I just love those.
Yep.
Oh, you know what I made this year?
Oh no.
While I was making that, I made a black raspberry mead.
Oh,
That's coming
I'm
out
so
next
excited
year.
for that.
So I had a little
excited.
extra
Wow.
black raspberries that I needed more than I needed for Red Scare, and I turned it into a black raspberry mead. Last year I did a blackberry mead when I created.
And that turned out so
Actually,
well.
this Red Scare that we're going to have in this carafe is the vintage of our black mead, of our blackberry mead. So that blackberry mead got blended to make this Red Scare.
Maybe this with a little bit of plain yogurt,
Yes.
and then just maybe a dollop of honey on top. Oh my God.
Oh,
I think that's more what I was expecting all of the compost to taste like, I think.
Oh yeah.
It
yeah.
tastes a little more kind of raw and fermenty.
Yeah.
But yummy.
sounds like a party downstairs.
Does sound like a party downstairs. It's Columbus Day or Indigenous
It is
Peoples Day.
Indigenous.
Indigenous Peoples Day. Happy Indigenous people everywhere.
Oh, wow. I see. I haven't sampled this wine for months.
Ooh.
Really nice honey floral note on this vintage.
Yeah, this is wild.
Oh, Matt, you're gonna like this vintage, my friend.
Matt says he has crafted a new crepe recipe to go with Red Scare meal crepes, looking for the right meat next to roll in them. With Red Scare, I drank Red Scare last Christmas with some duck, and that was a very good combination.
Wow.
Oh, again, a nice mouthfeel.
Yeah.
I really, I've been trying to implement new techniques, new procedures in the cellar as I get more comfortable with what I'm doing. And what I'm working more towards is mouthfeel, is trying to, because when I have a nice wine that sets me back, there's a texture, there's a silkiness, there's a presence that's hard to describe, but it's really engaging and really enjoyable. So I've been trying to handle the wines in ways that will help foster this softer, delicate structure to it. This is coming along really nicely.
It's coming along great. It's interesting. I don't know that I would have felt any initial honey essence if I hadn't had this first. I think I was just predisposed by the raw fruit blend, because I generally don't get a lot of honey and Red Scare until the end of the glass when you can just smell it,
Okay.
I know this vintage, what we're about to try, what's in bottles right now. I remember when we first put this out and we're first opening it back in February, I believe. It was much more honey than the previous vintage, and I loved it. I was over the moon about it. You could taste the honey. on the
It's
finish.
interesting you say that, because to me, the 18 vintage was much more honey.
No, it's
Oh,
funny.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 19
Matter of
was
perception.
more austere, more berry, less honey.
Interesting.
And I remember when Matt first tried the 19, he's like, "Man, is there any 18 left?" And it was early on.
Yeah.
And I was saying, "Well, Matt, I think you'll enjoy the 19 if we give it a little more time." And I think these things are live foods, so they are evolving. They are changing all the time. They just change more slowly once they're in the bottle.
What's the ratio here of fruit?
So we do 300 pounds of blueberries, 300 pounds of black raspberries, 60 pounds of black raspberries, 300 pounds of honey, and 50 pounds of dextrose sugar, and about 40 gallons of water. So that's the formula, Matt. If you want to make your own barrels, anybody who wants the formulas, I'm happy to share them.
That's so freaking
And then
good.
D254 and some barrel-aged French oak barrels for aging. And it's not 100% barrel-aged, so I really like. I learned this from reading a book that Bob gave me on Chateauneuf-du-Pape. And Chateauneuf it's a GSM blend, so a lot of Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, other grapes, but I really like their red wines. And the Red Scare is a little bit similar to that with its own unique character. And we did an experiment years ago where in 2013, we had a 2013 Red Scare in skinny bottles, and we had a 2013 Red Scare Oak in skinny bottles.
Scare Oak, yeah.
So it was 100% barrel aged or 100% stainless steel aged.
Yeah.
And we started mixing them together.
Right.
14, I did it again, 2 vintages separate. And finally I said, you know what? I need to make 15. And I need to have both oak and I need to have stainless. So when I make, Red Scare, and I do this with Lakehouse Red, is I split some of the wine into barrels and some of the wine stays in stainless steel, and then it gets blended. And I'm mimicking what they do in Provence. I'd like to have a cement tank. It's on my wish list because they use a lot of cement tanks there. And that complexes with the acids and interacts.
Not inert. Cement is not
In a
inert.
good way.
Not inert in a good way. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so now we need to go to the vintage in the bottle, which is 19.
So how long was this?
This is what's on the shelf right now, right?
Though I guess is it the blend of some of it wasn't in barrel at all, and some of it was. But how long was the barrel aged portion?
Usually, hold on one second.
Important business.
It's usually 14 to 16 months.
Okay.
Sometimes as little as 12 months. So I'm tracking the barrels, tasting them. As the barrels become more neutral, they can stay in the barrel a little longer. But it can also start to dry out the wine and lose some of the fruitiness.
So this is Red Scare, so about a year. Hermitage, I know, is about 2 years.
Yeah,
generally.
Hermitage, and that gets no stainless steel, so that's 100% barrel.
And then Lakehouse Red?
Lakehouse Red and Red Scare are about the same.
About the same.
Yeah. A little over a year and a half for those, year and a half to 2 years on the Hermitage.
And now I think especially, I still say that you taste the honey on the finish on this quite a bit, but especially after that.
So you get honey on the finish.
Yep.
See, I get honey on the nose in these two.
Yeah.
But not on the finish. And I don't get the honey as much. And I
don't get the honey as much in this one either.
I like this vintage a lot. The 19, I think. I had one goal in mind with the 19, and that was to make it a little more concentrated. So I tried to up it a little bit more in concentration. The 18 was a little too honeyish and a little too floral and light for me. The 17 was really nice, but I thought it was a little alcoholic. It was a little too hot. And it was lacking a little of that intensity. So the 19, I backed off on the honey a little, and I decreased the water to increase the intensity of the fruit, and that's what we ended up with.
You know, I get the sensation of honey that you're talking about, and it probably connects with your taste buds differently than mine. So I got something that ought to taste like honey to me, but it doesn't. You know, like not like I got in this or in that. But I get that space there. There's something in there that has that honey character, and I've noticed it, but I don't have a word for it. It's like honey ghost in my palate.
Honey ghost.
It is. I'm tasting this very differently though, after having tasted that.
The compote.
That pulp.
Let's try the compote again.
You know, We should offer something like this somehow out of the eatery, but I know we're full tilt all the time anyway.
It would be a
but-
fun thing to do as a. It wouldn't even have to be it wouldn't have to be a official menu item. It could just be, when you have something like this down in the winery, to bring up a tub of it and have us be putting it on boards and be able to say like,
why
this
not?
is sort of in progress Red Scare. That
can
would
do
go
that.
with some creme fraiche on a crostini. That would be delicious.
Yeah.
But it's
Any
only
of
live
these.
for like 3 days,
Yeah.
5 days.
That's
it.
okay. It doesn't
5
even have
days.
to be on the menu. It's
Yeah.
just what happens to be on the board that
Yeah.
day.
Well, I think that would really be great.
That'd be really cool. And make sure this we
have
all
ferments
know about
going,
it. So
we have ferments going all the time. So I could do this compote thing at least once a month, and every month would be different.
and that would
So
it would just
tomorrow
we
or
could just
later this week, I'm going to go pick up kiwi berries.
and that would be
They're
we
fermented
can.
kiwi berries.
It's
you
always
can do
fun.
this.
We did that a little bit. I think when you got all the peaches in, we were putting some peaches on specials.
Yeah.
But even if it's not sort of as a written special, even if it's just something that happens
Yeah.
to be on the
Yeah,
charcuterie
yeah.
board, then make sure the servers know about it and they can be telling people,
Yeah.
just so this is this great thing. That
Then we'll put it in a jar and sell it, but the jars would explode.
probably can't do that.
We used to
Yeah.
do
first
blue,
thing-
we did blue shots for a while. Remember that? That was the actively fermenting after it was pressed off, but still
Yeah.
got the live culture in there.
Blue
It's still going.
kombucha.
The fruit flies are coming over.
Yeah,
Like, they-
yeah.
They wanna
no,
take part in the
they're-
I
party.
can smell all that goodness.
Yeah, they can get the CO2 coming off the ferment. So at least they're bugging that, not us.
Wow.
I get more. All this
I
didn't
get
do
more honey
honey
now on
yeah.
the nose after I ate the compote.
Yeah, I get more honey after. It's funny. It's like the honey suggests
It's a honey ghost.
honey ghost. Yeah,
Honey
it's
ghost
really
coming
funny.
at us. It's been really exciting for me to have, especially Red Scare, be a wine that has become one of our key products.
I
Because it
love Red
has a
Scare.
really, a special place for me. Picking this fruit in my yard, taking the honey out of Max's beehives and putting it together, it brings me right back there to that place. And now we have a commercial product that a whole bunch of people enjoy, that we produce at a good scale. I get to interact. I have a farmer who's planted black raspberries.
Yeah, well, that's
And he's
fantastic.
just producing a tremendous amount of beautiful black raspberries.
Yeah.
It's great. And Troy bringing his honey over to blend in, and it's just great. It's just like the honey I got out of my beehives.
Yeah,
It's just raw, it's fresh. There's wax and the occasional dead bee floating around.
yeah. No,
It's not technically fully vegan when it's got a
It's
dead
never
bee in it,
vegan.
right?
No,
It's never vegan.
honey. Yeah.
Honey's
I
never
think
vegan.
technically most wines are not vegan that way because there are critters that end up being harvested. Just the
And
way
fermented.
That end up in the fermenter probably.
Even just
So you could
bugs.
say this
Maybe I shouldn't talk about this
Merlot
stuff. It's probably not
has
that
an
enjoyable
essence
for
of-
people to hear
essence
about
of-
the bugs that might be in.
of scarab beetle with a little bit of butterfly or
Probably
something.
commercial food production too has those issues, but we shouldn't go down that path.
Let's go down that road.
Yeah.
No.
That's
So about
that'll
that
be our.
wine.
Let's talk about this really yummy compote.
No, our
Yeah.
subject. Our subject next week will be
Protein
Critters
in
in
wine.
protein and wine. Stay tuned.
That's right. How we're all heading towards
Yeah,
eating
I feel-
insects
I
as
think
a
I had
major
a-
part of our protein intake on this
I actually
planet.
think we always were sort of unsure week to week what we're going to do, but I actually think I have in my head, I think I have a lineup for
You
3
do.
weeks out.
You do.
Possibly.
Wow.
Well, we're going to do the club release.
Exactly. So I think next week I'd like to do fall menu because we're
Oh.
doing a little tasting dinner on Sunday, but I think on Monday we can probably do
Have
fall menu,
leftovers?
and then the week after that will be club release.
Club
And some point,
release.
I'd love.
Mm.
So here's some news from the winery. Today, starting down in the cellar, we have a new assistant winemaker,
Yeah,
which
he's
is
a great
very
guy.
exciting.
Yep.
Ben
Ben Martin.
has joined us. He seems like
Oh, he's
fantastic addition.
Yeah, he's
We're-
going to be. I think he's going to be a home run.
Yeah, we've had
Just spending one day with him, I've learned a whole bunch of new things of how to.
It's great. It's
bring-
been interesting. Even I've been here about 3 years now, and we've been through several assistant winemakers, which is it's tough rotating through, but each different person that's been here has brought some
Well,
really
they all
unique
bring
things, and
tremendous additions.
you've taught
to
them a
what's
whole
going on.
bunch. They've taught us a lot every time. We've had some wonderful people coming in, and I'm really excited to get to know Ben and see.
Yeah,
But
he's a
I'm going to
super
see.
guy.
I don't know if he's up for it, but in a few weeks, once he's settled in a little bit,
think
I'd love to bring him on the show
Sure.
and
I think that's a
interview
great
him,
idea.
Sure.
so we can introduce him to all of you as well.
Yeah.
But he'll be down there if you come by. Maybe you'll see him.
And
around.
anybody,
He's
when you
joining.
stop in to the winery, of course, come on downstairs, and Ben and or I will be there.
Yeah.
And happy to hang out and sip some wine. Bring you a sample of the 21 vintages out of the barrels. They're still there.
Yeah. Super. All right.
Yeah. This is
Very good.
this is I love this. This is the type of
This was fun. I don't know
think
where this came from.
all
You were prompting for some ideas,
It
and
just sorta came out,
I try to think of
What are you doing down there? Yeah.
what's going on right now,
Mhm.
because I like to bring it to what's happening.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really, I think, good educational types of shows when we do this sort of thing, and you can really see.
This is helpful for me.
process.
I've never sat and spooned out actively fermented batches of the 3 ferments
Yeah, that's fantastic.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's less.
fascinating tasting the difference between
Yeah,
them.
it's tastier than I was expecting. I'm picturing, when you have like the Dolgo ferments going on
Mhm.
down there, and we're down there sort of scooping out the apple pulp, and it's it's hard to breathe down in the winery on
Yeah.
those days. That
Yeah.
Well, that's
It
near the
smells
end of
kinda good.
fermentation,
Yeah, and
but
and
it's
there's cascading CO2 out of the tank.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Down.
just
There's no
overwhelming.
sugar left. It's all alcohol.
So this will maybe get
So
to that
I
point.
bet, I think 4 weeks from now, I'll be doing the rosé, and I bet the rosé compote and the heirloom cider compote just
Oh,
done
yeah.
simultaneously.
With the Kingston
I bet
Blacks.
those
So-
taste great.
We'll probably have to do that in a few weeks. We
We
might
need to
do
do
a
these.
similar show to this, but with a different.
And I think this
The other
compote
ferments.
thing out of the eatery would be really fun.
Mhm.
You just add a little
talk to
dollop
Travis. Yeah,
onto
Yeah.
a board,
that'd be really cool.
and people are, well,
Especially
you
we'll
just,
have
happen,
to
you
end-
just
yeah.
happen to be here this weekend.
Yeah.
You get Red Scare compote on
Mhm.
your,
And letting people know that that's what they're tasting
Yeah.
would be really cool.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
and
Nice.
we could recommend pairing it with that.
Yep.
So we go down and grab a big thing of Lakehouse Red compote, put that on every,
Yep.
as
And
an
say,
extra
yeah,
little
recommended
dollop on
pairing
every
this
board,
week.
and recommend they get a glass of Lakehouse Red.
Yep. That'd be very cool. It's kind of like the Flight in a Bite that we've
Mhm.
run as special a few times, and we did on a show a few weeks ago.
Next summer, when I'm fermenting Lakehouse White, we'll do Lakehouse compote.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very
yeah,
interesting.
That's going to be interesting.
because that's a
Yeah.
different. This is
That's a totally
to
different
me,
thing.
This is all.
It's
It's
the
all
peaches.
berries. It's all these dark berries.
Yeah,
They kind of
it's stone
automatically
fruit.
go together. So
Yeah.
it whereas Lakehouse White, I feel like is sort of more.
Yeah, but
Different
you know what's really
things.
nice is I've shifted now. I found a local farm, a good supplier for our peaches.
In Brookdale.
And the peaches come ripe at the same time the rose hips come ripe. So
Oh.
I co-ferment the peaches, the rhubarb, and the rose hip all at once.
Nice.
Cool.
And so that
That
will
makes-
make a really great tasting
Sounds like
compote.
a-
And
sounds
in
like
the
a pie.
summertime,
Mm.
with the Lakehouse White or the Melange Blanc
Oh, strawberry rhubarb.
and strawberry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This will. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
this
this
will
is-
be a
I think this
I
is
recurring
like
great.
this
series.
idea. I
Yeah,
like
this
this
is-
whole
I think
compote.
this is
I
a
have
thing.
to make. I actually have to scale up my batches a little bit
Because
for
we're
the
gonna-
amount of compote
Yeah,
that we might really.
yeah.
Yeah.
My takeaway from this experience is how fun it is and how many flavors that are in this bubbling.
Experiment.
It looks like a science project. How many of the flavors actually wind up out here in these bottles in a much more elegant fashion? How the flavors come
Yeah.
together, but all the flavors are still
They
there.
are there.
They kind of get married in the bottle and create this synergy and a softness and these great
Let's carry
aromatics.
it
And,
over.
and the
Yeah.
sum total of the flavors are better than any one individually. And it's really a magic, but it's identifiable throughout the whole phase.
Yeah.
It's really neat experience to have had. I really
Nice.
should enjoy that.
Excellent.
Nice job. Well, thank you all again. I don't have any
Oh,
more
we
to
already-
finish with, but
Yeah, we're at an hour, I think.
Wow.
yeah, but that's an hour. That was a fantastic hour.
Wow.
Thank
So
you all.
we have to sign
Yeah.
off and cheer off.
Give me a splash to cheers for our sign off. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Cheers.
Hope this was as fun for you as I know it wasn't as fun for you as it was for us.
Next time we need to announce
You-
the compote
Yeah.
for a live audience.
Yeah, we have a compote night.
We'll go for
Yeah.
a bike ride beforehand or
Yeah.
a cross-country ski or something like that. And
Cross country ski. Why is it snowing out?
It is
no,
up north.
but it's a,
What?
They've had dustings up
What?
north already.
Snow
Yeah.
is coming.
time for the
Winter is
skis.
coming.
Almost time for the skis.
We love winter. I don't like the White Walkers, but we like the winter. That's for sure.
Oh, yes, we do. We like it all.
All right.
I don't like the
Cheers,
White
everyone.
Walkers. Yeah.
See you next week.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.